Hey, what's up? Welcome in, guys, to the newest edition of Around the Bags. This is Around the Bags 15 now, and it is August 25th, and that means that school has started. School started yesterday, back in class. Weather's been really nice out, but you get that feeling of going back to class, kind of the jitters and the nervousness, but it's good to get the first day out of the way and today out of the way for sure.
Yeah, class might not be the most fun thing in the world, but hey, man, senior year. It's glad to be back in school.
Yeah, it is good to be back into more of a routine, a set routine. That's always good to have.
Right.
Because when you're off that in the summer, you tend to be lackadaisical and whatnot. But we're going to get things going here. This is Around the Bags 15. I'm Mitch Glessner alongside Thomas Lemanske. We're going to give you the overview of what's going on right now in the American League. You got the East. Probably the best race in baseball right now, the Blue Jays and the Yankees, both with 69 wins, 55 losses. They're tied right now for first place there in the East. Looking at the Central, the Royals just playing absolutely phenomenally. They haven't cooled off at all. They're 76-48. They lead by 13 games. They are a lock at this point, which is good for us to hear. Out in the West, you got the Astros dueling it out with the Rangers. The Rangers are 3.5 games back, so they're not out of it. They're still fighting for that spot. And then you look at the NL, you go to the East, the Mets leading the Nationals by 5.5. And then the Central, probably the best division in baseball. You got the Cardinals with 79 wins. They've been terrific all year. Good pitching, good hitting. And then the Pirates and Cubs, not far behind them. You look out West, you got the Dodgers and Giants. And the Dodgers have 67 wins right now. Giants have 66. Giants are a game and a half back, so that'll be a good race. But we're going to start things off with the hottest team in baseball, and that is by far been the New York Mets. Before August 1st, the Mets ranked last in the majors in runs per game and 29th with a .363 slugging percentage. Since August 1st, the Mets are first in the majors in slugging percentage, second in runs per game, fourth in on-base percentage. They are playing out of their minds right now.
Yeah, you definitely hit it on the button right there. Ever since Yoenis Cespedes came over before the trade deadline, they've just been on fire. It's crazy to think, everybody thought about the Washington Nationals going to win that division. They're definitely the favorite, no doubt about it. But the New York Mets, surprising everybody, they're doing it by the pitching. Jacob deGrom, one of the best young pitchers in the league, 12-6 with a 2.29 ERA, and of course you got Matt Harvey, 11-7 with a 2.57 ERA. The hitting, the offense just got hot, and then the defense is just taking it away.
And it's been crazy because in August, the Nationals still had a 2-game lead.
Right.
And then here come the Mets. And now, at this point, they're leading by 5.5 games, and it looks like they're going to take that one. You said it with the pitching there. They got Syndergaard, Harvey. They've got a bunch of guys with ace-like stuff. And then Cespedes has just been tremendous for them.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Cespedes, like I said, right when he came over from the trade deadline, that just ignited their offense. They got Daniel Murphy, Wilmer Flores. Flores, like people might know, he got about to get traded at the deadline, but since then he's been hot too. So, the New York Mets, they're on fire, but going from one hot team to a hot division race in the AL East, you got the Toronto Blue Jays and the New York Mets, like we talked about, the New York Yankees, my fault, like we talked about, both sitting at 69 and 55. The closest team to them, actually, is the Baltimore Orioles. They're 7 games behind both those teams. So, that division race is going to be heated all the way to the end of the season, Mitchell.
Yeah, this is definitely the thing to watch for any baseball fan moving forward, and it's the Blue Jays and the Yankees. Obviously, the Blue Jays get David Price and Troy Tulowitzki. That made them an instant contender. David Price is probably, the ace of that rotation, and he's a guy with postseason experience. But right now, they're tied up in a knot. But here's the thing. They still have 7 more head-to-head games. Right. The Yankees get 4 of those at home. The Blue Jays get 3. This is going to be very interesting for me. Both of these teams hit obviously for power, you got Josh Donaldson and Bautista with the Blue Jays, and then you get Brian McCann and Brett Gardner can hit for power, and then
Mark
obviously Alex Rodriguez and Mark
Right.
Teixeira. So, moving forward, they've got those 7 head-to-head games. I think that's what's going to decide it.
Yeah, those are going to be some primetime games, seven head-to-head games, like you said, but I got to give it to the Toronto Blue Jays. I really think they're going to pull ahead and win this division. Since that trade deadline, they did a fabulous job at the trade deadline getting Troy Tulowitzki. They got Ben Revere, who hasn't been talked about that much, and of course they got David Price. The one thing they were really missing was that go-to starter, but they definitely got that. David Price, he's 3-0 since the trade deadline with a 1.78 ERA, so he's definitely been carrying the load for him like he was expected to.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, but I'm going to disagree with you here, Thomas, just because the Yankees get that edge of one more game at home. And I think playing in Yankee Stadium, that plays to their advantage a lot better.
Right.
Just because the Yankees have a lot of lefties that can play to that short porch. And I still think the pitching will get it done for them. I think they have just enough pitching to get past the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have a ton of righty power,
Right.
which obviously plays very well at the Rogers Center. But in New York with those head-to-heads, I think I'm going to give the edge to the Yankees just because of that left-handed power. And Alex Rodriguez hits well, to the pull side and the opposite field. I mean, he's surprised everybody right at this year with 26 home runs. I mean, I'm just going to give the edge to the Yankees right now, as of right now. And then definitely the Blue Jays in the wild card for sure, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Yankees definitely have a better starting pitching staff than the Toronto Blue Jays do. But that Toronto offense, it is star-studded. You got Troy Tulowitzki, of course, and you got Jose Bautista always hitting bombs, and Edwin Encarnacion hitting 265 right now with 24 bombs. So there's a lot of power in that lineup. Man, it's going to be really exciting to see these teams go head-to-head 7 more times this season.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting. That is a very heated race, probably the most fun one that'll be to watch. But you can't rule out on the NL side. You got that NL Central, and you got the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Cubs. I think the Cardinals have been the best team all year, just all around by far. But, looking ahead here, the Pirates are only trailing by 3.5 games. The Cubs are 6.5 back. And they all play one another 6 times apiece in September. So, I mean, anything could happen. I mean, the Pirates, that 3.5 game deficit, 9 games against clubs combined for 69 games below 500. That's who they will play. So their schedule is definitely in their favor. So
Right.
I think the Pirates have a chance to make a move here, and the Cubs have been extremely hot. So I'm not ruling any of them out.
Right, I definitely, you're right. Not ruling any of them out by no means. But it's pretty crazy. The Cubs, like you said, have been really hot, and the Pittsburgh Pirates have also been pretty hot too. The Cubs this month have gone 17-4, and they only gained 4 games on the division leader St. Louis, and then 15-6 for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they only shaved off 2 games of that lead from the the Cardinals. So, man, both those 3 teams, they just don't know how to lose. I don't know what easy way to put it, but they have good offense, good defense, really good pitching staff, especially with the Cardinals and the Pirates. They just don't know how to lose. All 3 teams are definitely going to make the playoffs, in my opinion.
Yeah, and when you think about it too, they got the great teams, but they also have the management to do
Right,
it.
right.
These are all great managers, all 3 teams have experience, the managers have experience in the playoffs and whatnot. The one thing I will say here is that the Cubs finished the season 6 games on the road. So I know
Right.
they're hot right now, and they
Yeah.
do have John Lester, who just came off a really good start, but they do finish a bunch of games on the road. But I love everything about what I've seen from Chris Bryant. I mean, this is a rookie guy that has stepped in. He's hit 2 walk-off home runs this year. He had the 2-homer game a couple days ago. Yesterday, he had the walk-off. And he's been everything that the Cubs wanted him to be.
Yeah.
You know, the young guy coming up, the rookie, the power hitter, he's provided that for them. The only thing that worries me about the Cubs is just the way that their lineup turns out and trying to figure out how they get Castro, Russell, Coughlin, Schwarber, how they get all those guys in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually been pretty surprised with Chris Bryant. You know, all the hype that he had coming up through the minors, you know, one of the best prospects that's come up in a while. He's really played well, and he's been hitting bombs. He's been playing good defense, and he's been hitting for average, actually. So I've actually been pretty surprised, but I still think it's the St. Louis Cardinals division to lose. I mean, that pitching staff's the best overall ERA in the MLB, best bullpen, which is hard to say with the Royals, best bullpen in the bullpen ERA in the MLB. But man, it's all three teams are definitely going to make that postseason. But yeah, I think it's definitely the St. Louis Cardinals division to lose. But going from one Missouri team to the other, we're going to talk about the Royals right now. The Royals sitting at 76-48. They're 13 games in the lead. Minnesota's trailing by 13 games, but this team's been playing pretty well, especially since that trade deadline. You know, you got the acquisition of Ben Zobrist and, of course, Johnny Cueto.
Yeah, Johnny Cueto and Ben Zobrist, they've been everything that the Kansas City fans wanted. I mean, they wanted the win now mentality, and that's what they did with Johnny Cueto. We've already talked a little bit about that, but, you know, I think Ben Zobrist has been everything and more for what we needed. Ben Zobrist, a guy, he doesn't stick out on the highlights, doesn't do anything that special. He just does everything right. But right now, he's just been a perfect fit in Kansas City. He does it from the right side, from the left side, so he gives the other managers, you know, hectic and who they bring out of the bullpen and whatnot. But he's just been phenomenal, and he's been playing in the outfield and second base. I just love everything about what he's doing, and he's been great. He's been very productive in the absence of Alex Gordon.
Oh, yeah, that's been key. That's been huge for the Royals going forward. But one thing that Ben Zobrist, I think, has done really well, he's been watching some pitches. And I think if you've been watching the past Royals games, it's been rubbing off on all the players. We've been walking a lot more since Ben Zobrist has came to the team. You know, look at Salvi, even Hosmer, Kendrys Morales, just talking offensively right now. Those guys have been swinging at everything. They don't really have that high of an on-base percentage, but you look at Ben Zobrist, since he's hitting .330 with a .412 on-base percentage, and that's the highest on-base percentage on the Royals right now.
Yeah, and the thing with the Royals, too, we've seen this in the past. We saw it last year, but they're not a team that's going to lay down. And they have a 13-game lead in the division, and yet they don't lay down one bit. We saw the come behind win against the Red Sox on Sunday. That was an amazing game. Hosmer came up with the tying runs, and then Moose with an 11-pitch at bat. He drives in two more. They go on to win that game, and then you look at yesterday against the Orioles.
7 runs.
And Chris Medlin's first start, which I thought was good to watch. See Chris Medlin in the mix there. And we come back and win that one as well. And Moustakas has just been extremely hot.
Yeah, I mean, the Royals are definitely relentless. I mean, when they put up that cricket number 7 runs last night, hitting is definitely contagious for this team. If one guy gets a hit, who knows how many people are going to get a hit after him. But yeah, like you said, Chris Medlin, man, it was good to see that dude back. We're going to switch over to the defensive side of the ball. We'll talk about some pitching. Man, Chris Medlin, this guy's had 2 Tommy John surgeries the past year and a half. This guy hasn't pitched since 2013. Comes out, he's on a pitch count, keep in mind. He pitches 6 innings, too. Gets a quality start, only gives up 3 runs. Then we put up that cricket number in the 6th inning, 7 runs, and he gets the win for the team.
Yeah, he came in, did his job, and he's a guy you can tell in his interviews, in his post-game interviews, he's a very humble guy, and he knows how to pitch. He doesn't really have anything ace material-wise. I mean, he just sits in the low 90s, but he spots up terrifically, and that's great to see. I mean, that's what we all wanted to see out of Chris Medlin. We knew that it would be a rehab deal, get, the 2 Tommy Johns and whatnot. but it's good to see that we have that solid pitcher that we can count on. He's already proven that to us. Looking at the postseason, though, we've talked a little bit, Thomas, in the past on former shows about what our rotation will look like moving into the postseason, because I think at this point it is a lock. We're going to be in the postseason.
Yeah, like it or not.
I think right now, I like Jeremy Guthrie a lot, but I don't see him in that rotation. Danny Duffy and Chris Young and all, there's a lot of question marks about what we're going to do in the postseason.
Right.
But I think it's still going to be your ace and Johnny Cueto at the top, Eddie Volquez. But from there, it gets a little dicey, and you can do a couple different things. I did hear one thing that I actually kind of, it sounds a little crazy, but that's kind of what Ned Yost is. He's kind of crazy at times. You could almost put Ventura and Young on like the same day.
Right.
So you throw each one of them, you give the hitters a different look, different arm angle, different velocity, and then you could also, on the next day, you could put Duffy and then maybe Medlin together or something like that. And then you just because, with Ventura, it's just mental. I don't think he has the mentality to be able to go past about 3 innings. So you put him out there for about 2-3 innings, maybe 4, between the two of them. Mm-hmm. And then you use our guys in the pen that have been great to bridge over to the HDH. So you use Hochaver, or whether that's Hochaver, Morales, or Madsen, you kind of use them as a bridge to get to the end of their closers and stuff there.
Right. I mean, I definitely could see Ned Yost doing that. He's a crazy dude, and he's had some questionable decisions as the Royals manager, but I don't know if I like that. I think your Donovan Ventura should be the number 3 starter in our rotation. Depending on how well he pitches the rest of the season, because his past 2-3 starts, they've been pretty good starts. He's kept the ball low, and he's of course had good velocity on the ball, and they haven't been scoring that much runs on him. But I just like to point out last during that wild card game, we almost lost the game because Ventura came in the bullpen from the bullpen. So I don't know if I like Ventura coming out from the bullpen, but yeah, like you said, I definitely think Cueto's are going to be our number 1. That's hands down. Eddie Volquez, he's definitely steady Eddie. He's earned that number 2 spot. He's been our best pitcher all year. If we didn't have him in our rotation, haven't had Johnny Cueto, we've been in a world of hurt right now. He's 11-7 with a 3.4 ERA, so he's definitely earned that number 2 spot. But yeah, I mean, it gets dicey after that. But I think Ventura, he had that postseason run last year where he
postseason blunder.
Yeah, he pitched really well in that postseason. So, he's got the experience that you're looking for. Not only got 1 year experience, but hey, man, it's experience. So I'm definitely gonna have to go with those 3 as the.
I could go. Yeah, I could go either way, really. Yeah. I think it's one of those things.
I think it's based on. I think it's going to be based on the 3-4 spot. It's going to be based on how well the pitchers pitch. The rest of the season.
Right. I think the thing, maybe throwing 2 of them out there, as I mentioned, you kind of flip flop the velocities and the arm angles and everything. I think that would be something good to experiment with coming to the end of the season, since we have such a big lead.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe just experiment with Ventura out of the bullpen, because in the postseason, you just never know what could happen. At one point, you might need a flamethrower guy in Ventura. At the other moment, you might need a guy like Chris Young that's more of a finesse guy. So I think moving forward towards the end of the year, they should experiment with that. Looking at our bullpen right now, I still have a ton of confidence in that bullpen. Greg Holland has been a little shaky at times, though. That does worry me just a little bit. And Kelvin Herrera has worried me at times a little bit. But Wade Davis, he's given up a couple more home runs, which is very uncharacteristic of him. But I still got all the confidence in the world in Wade Davis. And I think by the time the playoffs do come around, I think Holland and Herrera will be just fine.
Oh, yeah. That bullpen, it's first, second bullpen in the MLB, whatever way you want to put it. But, yeah, you got Franklin Morales has been quite a pleasant surprise this year. He's 3-1 with a 2.24 ERA, which he's right behind Herrera. Herrera's a 2.09 ERA, so he's been pretty solid. But yeah, I think that bullpen's ready to go for that postseason run.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the starting rotation. The bullpen will be ready. Looking at the whole big picture, though, you got to look at the big picture in the lineup because Gordon will be back in left field. So that means somebody's got to go down. Now, this is who I would have, and I've talked to a couple different people, and I've gotten different feedbacks and whatnot on what they think about this, but I would see it this way. I would see Paulo Orlando going down, and the reason I would say that is because he does not have the ability to play center field.
Yeah.
So I would put Gordon back in left, I would put Dyson in center, and then Kane in right. Then I like Zobrist at second on the infield. You keep Hosmer, you keep Alcides, obviously Salvi and Moose. But I like Zobrist at second over Infante because then you have Infante coming off the bench. He can handle the bat. He can put a bunt down, a little bit of speed, maybe battle a long pitch at bat, maybe shake things up. That's what I like for my postseason lineup.
Yeah, I think Lorenzo Cain, well, you hit it on the dot. I think Paulo Orlando is going to be the odd man out. You've seen it before the season. When people get activated off the DL, he's the one that's going to go back down, get some at bats, more at bats than he would when he's in the MLB up in the majors. So, but I got to go with Lorenzo Cain in center. I know you said Gerard Dyson's going to be in center. I think that dude covers. I mean, those dudes are both pretty dang fast. But
yeah, they both cover an extremely amount of ground.
Yeah, but I think Lorenzo Cain's going to win a Gold Glove in center field this year. Mike Trout might win it other than that. But yeah, I think you got to put Lorenzo Cain center. Then it's question mark. I think, like you said, Ben Zobrist is definitely going to be in second base. His offensive production definitely outweighs Omar's, and Omar has like a 270 on base percentage, so that's just not acceptable. But it's either going to come down to right field. It's going to be Gerard Dyson or Alex Rios, which is going to be really interesting to see. But I got to give it to Gerard Dyson, man. He's fast. He's a speed guy. I think he's a better defender than Alex Rios, and he's hitting better than him right now.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing I didn't even really touch on in Rios. I don't know. I just don't see really Alex Rios fitting in. I mean, I like the formula that we had last year in that it was using the speed in Gerard Dyson and whatnot. That's why I don't like Rios in there, because I haven't seen enough of Rios to really drive in runs. I mean, he's only hitting 250, and he was supposed to be that guy that was going to give us 15-plus home runs.
Right.
I haven't seen that. So, in an ideal world, you have Gerard Dyson coming off the bench, but I think he has to start just because Alex Rios isn't playing that well, and just because, like I mentioned, I don't think Paulo Orlando has the ability to play center field.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion on where that goes. We'll see what happens. Ned Yost, he likes to play around, have fun, and do some crazy stuff here and there. But as for today, we're going to leave it at that. The Royals in the lead. That's what we all want to hear. Kansas City fans are extremely ecstatic about that. I'm looking forward to the playoffs because they are definitely on the way there. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're hot in the month of August. That should definitely carry over into September as long as they stay healthy. We'll get Gordon back. We'll see what happens. But this has been Around the Bags, edition 15. I'm Mitch Glessner. He's Thomas Lemanske. And thanks for listening, and catch us next week. We'll get a new show out there for you, and we'll see what happens moving forward with this heated races all around baseball. We'll see you then.